Hello guys, welcome to the show. I hope everyone is doing just fine, and we are very happy to have you guys on the program today. And please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, kindly do that because that helps us a lot. Like I have said before, this is a community that we are trying to build together, and your support to the platform is so important. We cannot overstate that. So please kindly like the video and also subscribe to the channel. And do not forget to leave us a comment below. And one more thing, right? We are seeking for suggestions and advice from viewers of this channel. And we would like to know, what do you think that we can change? What do you think that we can do to better suit your needs? So let us know in the comment section below, because like always, we appreciate hearing from you. So let's get on with some of the stories that are making the headlines from our beloved continent, Africa. And today we shall start in Niger. Demonstrators take to the streets in protest against foreign forces. Hundreds of demonstrators took part in a protest against the presence of foreign forces in Niger, including the armed forces of the United States, which has a military base in the north of the country. The demonstrators gathered in the center of the capital city of Niamey at the call of civil society organization close to Niger's ruling military junta, whose members took part in the demonstration. We have called for the departure of the Americans and all foreign forces from Niger, and the CNSP has taken our concern into account. And it is in this context that we have come to support and reaffirm our support for the CNSP in relation to the decision taken for the departure of foreign forces, said Abdulaziz, a protester. The demo comes as the West African nation pulls away from close cooperation with the United States in counterterrorism efforts, turning instead to Russia for security. It may be seen as a further step in urging Washington to withdraw from Niger, where Russian troops arrived last week to provide security for Niger's military junta. The Russians will be here as part of a win-win cooperation, whereas the Americans, as we have seen, have been here for how many years? Has insecurity weakened? I'd say not. Whereas with the Russians, we have just recently seen that things are moving forward, said Momoni Amadou, who helped organize the demonstration. Niger's ruling military council, known as CNSP, has yet to order American troops out, US officials have said. But the rivalry of Russian forces makes it complicated for the US forces, along with diplomatic and civilian personnel, to remain in the country. It also throws into doubt the future of joint Niger-US counterinsurgency operations. Well, I personally support this whole idea of kicking out the Americans. Like I have said before, and my point has always been very straight, I do not believe that foreign forces can solve Africa's problem. I really do not believe that. I don't know if you do, but I do not, because I personally think that only Africans can solve their problem. We have got to look at the problems critically. We have got to come out with a solution, an African solution to an African problem. The Western forces will never solve it. If that were to be the case, if these Western forces were supposed to solve this problem, they should have solved it by now, because France has been there for many years, but things have just gotten from better to worse. Okay, France was in Mali, France was in Burkina Faso, France was in Niger, and they did nothing. Okay, we even had the United Nations peacekeeping force in DR Congo. They did nothing. So they have been there for years, but the problem still persists. So why keep them? Even Americans, they have been there also, all in the name of fighting terrorism. But day in, day out, we still have terrorists roaming here and there, causing a lot of destruction, confusion, and havoc. They should go. And even allowing the Russians in my own opinion, is not a good idea. Okay. Like I have always said, right? We cannot be kicking out Peter just to welcome Paul. That's not how you do things. If you are kicking out Peter, make sure you do not welcome Paul, because they are the same people. They are the same thing, right? If you are gonna welcome Paul, why not just maintain Peter? Why not just maintain Peter? Why kick out Peter just to turn around and welcome Paul? I have always said this, that we are welcoming Russians into the continent. What if they came and after a couple of years, they refused to go? Because it is really difficult to kick France out. It takes a lot of effort just for France to leave. I even sometimes think that maybe France has forgotten that they are but a foreigner in Africa. I sometimes think like this. I think they've forgotten, you know. So we cannot be saying that France has to go, American has to go, all the foreign forces has to go, only to turn around and bring in Russia. That is not how we get our problem solved. But you know what? I have to also admit that there is a security problem in Niger, and the military juntas there are doing what they think is best for the country at the moment. But I would also like to suggest that this shouldn't be a long-term plan, a long-term goal. While the Russians are there, we must take upon ourselves the responsibility of protecting the country by ourselves. Russians will never do that for us. We will have to do it because it is our country. We have no other country but that one, and we have to protect it. So let's continue with the second article for today. Infectious disease, experts coordinate efforts against monkeypox. In a concerted response to the growing threat of the monkeypox virus, also known as simian pox, Africa is mobilizing to strengthen its response. On April 13, nearly 250 experts gathered in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, under the aegis of the World Health Organization and Africa to develop strategies to stem the spread of this disease in the African region. The situation is alarming, with over 92,000 human cases reported in more than 110 countries in 2023. The DR Congo was one of the hardest hit countries, recording 14,600 cases and 654 deaths. For Professor Jean-Jacques, renowned virologist and co-discoverer of the Ebola virus, the urgency of the situation is clear. Very recently, in the DR Congo, for the first time, we observed sexual transmission of monkeypox. And so, if we take this heterosexual transmission, we take the severity, we take the spread of the disease. Almost every province is affected. It's a public health emergency. In their fight against the epidemic, the experts pledge to coordinate their efforts in diagnostics, laboratory optimization, and vaccine research. Dr. Ngashi Ngongo, Chief of Staff and Head of the Africa CDC Executive Office, stresses the need to facilitate the strengthening of preparedness and response capacity to mitigate the impact of monkeypox. In Africa and beyond, strengthen the effective surveillance, national laboratory capacity, rapid epidemic response, and engagement with affected communities. WHO is also committed to supporting these efforts by strengthening surveillance capacity, risk communication, and economic engagement. Dr. Mashidisho, WHO Regional Director for Africa, says, "We will be working on many aspects of the subject. We will start at the local, national, and global level. We are there, and we will work with governments to move this agenda forward. Well, my brother and sister, this is a very difficult situation in Africa, and with the monkeypox issue, it's getting everyone very concerned and very worried, and we hope that we can get a vaccine or a cure to this thing as soon as possible. Because if we all can remember what Ebola did to us, nobody will want any kind of like virus spreading through the continent. So let's continue with our next story for today. 3 Tanzanian soldiers killed in Democratic Republic of Congo. 3 Tanzanian soldiers were killed and 3 others wounded when hostile mortar fire landed near their camp in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Southern African Development Community said on Monday. They were part of a Southern African peacekeeping force deployed in December last year to help government troops battling M23 rebels in the ongoing conflict in the restive eastern DR Congo. The force includes soldiers from regional military heavyweight South Africa, Tanzania, and Malawi. It is being reported that the mortar attack took place last Thursday and that a ceremony to honor the dead was held at SADC headquarters in the provincial capital, Gome, on Monday. SADC also said that the soldier from South Africa had died in a hospital while being treated for unspecified health problems. The force suffered its first losses in mid-February when 2 South African soldiers were killed by mortars at a camp about 20 kilometers from the provincial capital, Goma. A Congolese security source who asked not to be named said the Tanzanian casualties happened at the same camp. The DRC, the UN, and the Western countries accused neighboring Rwanda of supporting the rebels in a bid to control the region's vast mineral resources, an allegation Kigali denies. The eastern part of the DRC has been plagued by violence from local and foreign armed groups for nearly 30 years. After several years of dominance, the mostly Tutsi M23 group took up arms again in late 2021 and has seized large sway of the North Kivu province. I think this issue in DR Congo has been a very controversial one, and no one is able to offer any sustainable solution to the problem. Everyone keep blaming the other one. DR Congo say is Rwanda. Rwanda said no, we have no hand in it. You Congo should deal with your problem yourself, and so on and so forth. So it's difficult for anyone to understand what the problem is and how it could be solved. But if I had to say one thing, right, I would say the most important thing, the highest responsibility falls on us, the Africans, right? If we Africans cannot solve our problems ourselves, then what do we expect, right? If we cannot sit down and dialogue, what do we expect? If we thought that fighting each other was going to be what bring peace, then I don't know what we are thinking. I really don't know what we're thinking. But then again, let me hear your take on this on the stories we covered today, and what do you think about them? Share that in the comment section below, because like always, we would love hearing from you. And please do us a favor, okay? Like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, because that helps us a lot. We shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.